Welcome back to my fish room. Today we're breeding Sterbai Corys. Sterbai Corys were the first Corys that I actually spawned and successfully grew out. So I wanted to start with them as a video for you guys because I find them pretty easy. They're not horrifically difficult. There are just like some little nuances that you have to get right to get them to grow. But that's what we're gonna go through today. So don't even worry, don't even stress. So what I'm gonna do with this video is basically show you guys my little setup, which you can see here in the background. What I do to hatch the eggs, and then of course going from like little tiny fry all the way up to sellable size, which is not super big. It's about 3 centimeters. I'm finding that I can get them there in about 3 months. We're gonna go through my setup. We're gonna go through what spawning looks like. Hopefully I'll get some footage of that. I don't know if I do, but I definitely can explain it to you and what it sort of looks like and what you're gonna see. I'm gonna show you what I do to hatch the eggs out, and of course then my steps to take care of them. So that's what we're gonna look at. Oh, and I'm also gonna go through sexing and getting like a breeding colony going. So that's super important because obviously without breeders, you ain't gonna get fry. So without further ado, let's get started. Sterbai Corys. If you were gonna think of a Corydora and what they actually do, Sterbais are like one of the most popular ones. So they're basically just a really cool little bottom dwelling fish. Great in community tanks, they're super peaceful. They're just really pretty. Like they've got a really lovely pattern to them with lovely orange pectoral fins. They are quite a stunning freshwater fish. I quite like a Corydora, especially in a community tank, because what they do is they actually go through the bottom layer, like the bottom substrate, and just sort of stir up the sand a little bit. So it's gonna get a lot of that gunk and stuff out of your sand while it's looking for food, which will then be taken care of with your filter. That is a really cool little thing that the Corys do and why they are super beneficial to a community tank. Now, if you are breeding them, I'd probably recommend not breeding them in a community tank. I think you can do it if you're quick enough to get the eggs, as long as you don't have anything in there that's gonna eat the eggs. The eggs for these guys are quite obvious. They're quite large and they stick them to the sides of the glass, they stick them to plants, they stick them in the spawning mop, they stick them all over the place. What I'm finding with these guys is they're going quite often for me and they will just go ahead and pop their eggs all over the tank. It's like an egg explosion. Just here is my setup. So this is what I'm currently spawning my Sterbai Corys in. I've got about 7 Corys in here simply because we started with 6. We have a 7th because one baby escaped me and it grew up in there. So I was like, okay. Which I wouldn't recommend colony spawning these guys because they do eat their babies. This one just survived. So I was like, well, you can live your life in there. That's fine. It's not really a lot going on in this tank. There is a video on my channel about how I set this tank up. So if you are super interested in that, go check it out. It's not rocket science though. It's just a piece of wood, some fine sand and a sponge filter. And a heater, because these guys do like to run a little bit hotter. This tank is at 28 degrees, the room is at 24. That's really it. There's not a whole lot in here. Even the plants, there's not even that many plants in here. There's like some Java fern and a little bit of boos and maybe some moss. Like there's not really much in there. And I've got a spawning mop in there as well. I have ditherfish for them, which is just some Japan blue guppies. Which I'm probably gonna move out because as soon as they get out of control, I find that the Sterbais will stop spawning. So you want a fish that's not gonna breed and get out of control. You want something quite easy to maintain. Rasboras would be a really good one. Tetras would be another really good one. Yeah, I put some rocks in there, some fine gravel, some fine sand, a spawning mop, a sponge filter, and a heater. So there's not a whole lot to this. It's just a 2-foot tank. I believe it's around 60 liters from my understanding. I think it's about 60 liters. That's what we've got going on. Not much to it, and this is what it looks like. So water parameters for these guys, super easy, super simple. They can really happily live within a temperature range of 22 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius. I will pop the Fahrenheit on the screen for you guys because again, I don't know off the top of my head, but I will find out for you. I do find that they like to breed at the higher range of that. So the hotter is usually where they want to be. They do like a softer water. They can go anywhere between 6 to 7.5. So again, very safe to keep with other fish. However, I think mine are sitting at around a 7. I don't like to drop it any lower than that. I don't have any botanicals in this tank either, so I'm not dropping that pH lower than 7. I can, but they'd be fine, but we don't really need to. We're getting spawns out of them at the moment. It's all good. Or they like a soft to moderate hardness in the water. I wouldn't go too hard. With that said, realistically, with like all fish keeping, and I say in almost all of my breeding videos, it's really just about stability here. Do not go chasing numbers. I just like to mention the parameters just to give you guys an idea of what these fish are used to. They have been bred in captivity over and over again. They are domesticated. You'd be more worried about your parameters if you are getting wild caught Sterbais. If you are just getting them down at your local fish store and they're not, you know, saying that they're wild caught or anything, just keep it stable. Maybe pump that heat up if you want eggs. Otherwise, it's just, you know, easy peasy. Keep it clean, keep it stable. That's what you want. If you can keep it softer, an easy way to do it though, stick some driftwood in there, put some leaves in there, Indian almond leaves, you can do some oak leaves, any hardwood leaf, no worries, stick it in there. That's gonna make that water more acidy. With Corys, they do tend to need, they're a bit weird on the ratio. Not like with a lot of other fish, for example, any egg scatterers like your rainbows, tends to be one male, more females. These guys are the other way around. So more males, less females, because 2 males, like one male will breed with the female and she'll be ready to go for another lot and then she'll go to another male. It's like, because they like do 1 or 2 eggs at a time. So it's not like I'm just scattering a bunch of eggs and we just need the one male to go ahead and do all the fertilizing. So they tend to actually do like a little dance and make it work. So they do a T-pose. T-pose is, I'm sure if you've done any kind of research into Corydoras, the T-pose is when the 2 fish do this, then they are breeding, basically. Our Corys do it, and that's how you can sort of understand, like that's how you know that they are thinking about spawning. It's gonna happen, spawning sort of behavior. That's your ratio. Go to the store, get yourself 4 males, 2 females, or 1 female to 2 males. I recommend doing a group of 6. I wouldn't go any under any of that because they are a shoaling fish, so they like to stay in group. The way that you sex them is interesting. Basically what you want to do though is you want to look down. So I would get the fish out, have a look at them, and what you're going to see is diamonds. So a male sort of is a slender diamond, where a female will definitely have more of a round belly, which is like, I mean, most fish, right? Any female's chunkier because she's got to make eggs, you know, it's kind of a thing. We girls are chunky. So you got your 4 to 6 adults, you're happy with your ratio. What you want to do now is condition them. That is just really high quality food. I tend to feed them once a day. It's really, really easy to do so. A couple of things that I found that they really, really like. Sinking pellets, high quality sinking pellets. I'm using the Dimax sinking pellets. I'm also using the Rio Sloss America's baby booster. This comes in a sinking pellet. I'm using the powder because I like to spread powder everywhere. I also mix it up with my sinking pellets that I use so that it's a big sort of, you know, a lot of different things all at once. So yeah, I definitely recommend using that for them as well. This has got really, really good protein and fiber percentages in it. And they really love it. Like they love this food. Almost all of my fish love this food. So I will be linking down below the Nishkai stuff. I do have a promo code as well. I do get a little kickback from that. So if you use it, you'll get 15% off. And you'll be also supporting my channel. So highly recommend shopping there. I can't rave about their food enough. I use it all the time and it's really, really good. They don't mind a little bit of Massive Achieve. I've got some color sinking pellets. I don't really use the color stuff on them. Like their bins are bright enough as far as I'm concerned. And then live food, really. They get brine shrimp because the guppies have it. They get worms sometimes. If I've got black worms, I will feed them black worms. I don't always have the black worms. At the moment here in Australia, black worms are a little harder to get, so I don't tend to feed them very often, but if I can get them, I do feed the Corys. They are the first ones to get it. I feed them once a day. I'm not particular about it. I don't give them heaps of food, just a little bit every day. That seems to condition them just enough, and they're off for a running start. If you've got a new group, you're probably looking at conditioning anywhere between 2 weeks to a month. That just gets built up in the system, gets them all nice and fat and happy. If they are from a shop, most likely you have bought juveniles, which is what I will show you at the end of the video because that's what we're going to end up with at the end. Those juveniles will be probably just over 3 centimeters long. They need to grow up. They're not going to spawn for you until they're a little older. They don't really sexually mature until they're 6 to 8 months old. So if you've just got them, you've been feeding them for a month, they might just not be ready. So just keep feeding them, keep going, watch them. You'll notice because they get quite large. They do get quite large in comparison to juveniles. So they get around the 4 to 5 centimeter mark. The girls get bigger as well. They get beefy and fat. That's conditioning. Feed them up, get them fat, get them happy. That's what you want. With all that out of the way, that is your main goal of trying to get them to breed with your breeding pair or sorry, your breeding group. Let's talk about how to get eggs, what to do when you get eggs, and how to grow them up. So once your adults have spawned, they will spawn basically everywhere. Ours will show us on the side of the glass. That's how we know that they have spawned. So we'll get little groupings of eggs all over the glass, and then a majority of the eggs are laid in that spawning mop there, which is just a wool spawning mop. Same sort of thing that I would use for my rainbow fish. We just basically pull it out, go through it, pull all the eggs out. Now, Corydora eggs are very rubbery-like in texture, and they also are very, very sticky. You can really just roll off the glass onto your finger and then go ahead and pop that in a container. We're getting anywhere between 30 to 100 eggs when they spawn, which is maybe once a week, if that, maybe once every 2 weeks. These guys are pretty prolific though. We have really, really healthy females in here, and they are spawning quite a bit for us. They usually go on a water change. So if you're not getting any spawns, you've got them at temperature, you've got adults, that's really important as well. You're not getting spawns. A way of triggering them is to do water changes. I don't do big water changes. And usually once you get them going, they will continually go on your water change. We're not getting spawns. They're not spawning on your regular water change. What you want to do, drop it down to 50%, cold water. Cold, regular tap water, fill it back up, simulating that rainy season. They should go for you after that. So that's usually what I will do. If they aren't, there could be, your water might not be clean enough, like it might be an issue with your water chemistry, so do a test. Again, if not, they might just not be old enough. Try and feed more of a fatty food, so get some white worms in there, get some black worms in there, things like that, and that might be the issue. So this is current eggs that I've got hatching at the moment. There's not a lot left. So I got this batch about a week ago. All I've done is pop them in just a hangover container, specimen container. I've hung it inside the tank to keep that temperature. Methylene blue in there just to stop any fungus. There is a little bit of fungus, but it's not bad. Once the babies hatch, which they hatch within 3 to 5 days, depending on your temperature, I'm finding 3 days is perfect for us because we are keeping that high temperature. Then I pipette them out and pop them in here, which you can't really see much because everything is really dirty. So this is just a fry tray. We use air to get the water in. It's not fitting for some reason, which is very annoying. I've got an Indian almond leaf in there, and you can see a bit of muck. That is just poo for the babies, and also just whatever the adults have kicked up in the tank. Let's see if we can see what we can see in here. Oh, there's a baby. Oh, look at them all. Oh my God, there we go. There you go, guys. Look at that. Put them back. Sorry, little ones. Something that when I first hatched them, and my first lot of Sterbai Corys died like instantly, everything that I've read on them says that they are born with an egg sac and you can feed them once the egg sac's gone. I find that they go through that egg sac really, really quickly. Like the day before there was no babies, the next day there are babies and they are alive, but then they're dead because the egg sac's not there and they have nothing to eat. So as soon as you see babies, this is what I recommend. I'm not gonna say that this is the only way, and other people might have different experiences, and I'm not saying that your experience isn't valid. This is just what I've experienced. These guys did not give me a lot of time to feed them. They're bottom-dwelling fish, therefore they don't like free swim. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a fish needs a food when it's free swimming. These guys aren't like that. They're gonna sit on the bottom, whether they have that egg sac or not. Feed them straight away. That's what I did. Keep your water clean and feed them straight away. As soon as they hatch in this little box, I pop them in here with an Indian almond leaf, which has biofilm on it, so they can eat off that, and then I also feed them that day. So I either feed them a powdered food, just a really, really fine powdered food that sits on the bottom, or I'll feed them baby brine straight away. Straight away, because the baby brine, they can chew on. So even if it settles on the bottom, they can chew on it and it's fine. I also feed them micro worms or banana worms. I find that they really like that. The cool thing with Corys is that they like worms. So banana worms, perfect. They all tend to settle on the bottom and the babies eat it all up. So great. That was like my little nuance of what happened when I first hatched them. So yeah, I recommend giving them those babies some food pretty quickly. With that said, I tend to keep them in these trays until they're a lot bigger than this, because these guys are still just little tiny babies with tails, like there ain't much fish there. So I tend to keep them in there until about maybe 1 centimeter long. And I keep adding fish, like if more hatch in here, I'll just add them in here, like it's fine. Eventually though, they will get to about 1 centimeter long and they'll beef out and you'll be able to see them more clearly and they become more like Corydoras. So once they're at that point, that's when we'll move them over to this aquarium, which is just a little fry aquarium. Itty bitty tiny tanks. They're like I think they're about 9 liters. So just little tanks. And this is just for them to grow up in. And you can see that you've got one right there. And I have an Indian almond leaf in there, which is the Indian almond leaf they had in their little tray. There's some in the back there, you can see them all. And they get fed 3 times a day. So they'll get brine shrimp in the morning and some worms, some banana worms. They'll get banana worms when we get home from work, which is about at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then when we feed everybody for like at dinner time, well, they don't need banana worms because I'll have some in the water, but they'll get brine shrimp yet again. That's sort of what's happening now. So zooming out, you can see my thermometer. You can see that these guys are on a white base. There is foam underneath there, so they can't actually see through the bottom of this tank. Now that is super duper important for these guys. If you have a bare bottom tank like this one and there's nothing underneath and they can see the light or they can see the tank underneath on a rack system, these guys will freak out and die. So don't do that. Make sure that the base is covered. They can't see through. There is no light coming from underneath them and they will be okay. That is another weird nuance that is like particular to these fish. Definitely wanted to mention that, especially now that we're looking at this bare bottom tank. So these guys will stay in here really until they are maybe 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters long. So they're in here for a good while. Once they are looking a lot more like little tiny Sterbai Corys, we'll move them again and I will show you where they go. So what I'm basically doing is going from small to medium to big size in the tank. I do my water changes pretty regularly with them. Not as regular as like the plecos, but I will do maybe every 2nd day to every 3rd day a 10% water change. So nothing super crazy, just, making sure that water is nice and clean, basically. It's really, with these guys, I think it's more about the food. Make sure that you're giving them a good variety of food and lots of protein. So, say we've grown them out in here, they are now 2 centimeters tall, we're moving on. So once they are at that sort of 2 centimeters and look a little bit more like adult fish, I will move them into a 4 foot. This is a big 4 foot. It's like 250 liters. So I'll put the gallons on there because I don't actually know what you would call this in the States. And I know a lot of my people that I am talking to right now, you guys are from the States and you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking in liters. You want to know what gallons are, I get it. I'll find out what the gallons are, but basically it is a big tank. These currently holding a batch of Red Devils that I'm waiting to pair off before I sell what I sell. And this is also holding our Sterbai Corys. Now I've got about 30 fish in this tank. You can see there, bare bottom tank. There are a couple of plecos in here because they needed a home, and some Sterbai Corys, and of course my angels. Now this tank is running hot at 28 degrees Celsius, and they're fine. They're doing the most. So they get brine shrimp again twice a day, brine shrimp. So morning and evening. They also get what is left from the Angel's auto feeder, which is just a sinking pellet. High protein sinking pellet, but a sinking pellet. That's it. They don't really get worms. I don't put worms in there. They are big enough for white worms. If you did want to feed white worms, that would be a really good snack for them. My white worm culture is not looking too good right now, hence why I'm not feeding it. But yeah, I basically, once they came out of the little tiny, once they came out of the little tiny tanks, I stopped feeding worms because they were kind of big enough, they didn't need them. So just to recap, I want to talk about some common issues and things that I found difficult. So the first one was when they hatched, they died really quickly because they needed the food basically straight away. So as soon as I see them, I'll pipette them out of the methylene blue mix and I'll pop them straight into fresh water mix, which is there, into the fry tray that is above the adults, that is the adult water, and I will feed them straight away. The methylene blue in the eggs stops the fungus. They're a slow growing fish. They're not super, oh, I say that, they're fine. I get them up to size in 3 months. You can too. It's food and heat. I feed them 3 times a day basically, and they tend to grow up really well. Keep your tank clean. Make sure that they are clean and happy and healthy. The Indian almond leaf really helps for extra food because that Indian almond leaf creates biofilm. They eat the biofilm, they stay full and happy for longer. I am making sure that the bottom of my tanks are covered so they can't see through the bottom of the tank. These particularly need to be able to feel secure on the bottom of their tank. So that is something that is really important. They will definitely get stressed out and die if it is like light coming up or they can see through the bottom. Like I said, it's about 3 months. I get them up to size. They can be moved on, whether that is to wholesale or to individual shops. So that's it, guys. That is my little video on how I breed Sterbai Corys. Now, I always like to say this is not the only way to do it. There are so many different ways. If you guys are having success a different way than I am, please let us know about it. Share it in the comments. I want to hear about it. I definitely want to hear about any other successes that you guys have had in breeding, what fish you're keeping, how much you love them. I really, really love all that. It's so good to hear from you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or any other videos that you would like me to make on breeding particular fish or setups or things like that. Always happy to help. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you do have any of those hype points, please hype my videos. I would love for more and more people to access this information and be able to learn from my own experiences and also get this out into the community more. So hyping these videos would be really, really helpful and beneficial for not only me, but of course, other people in this community. So that's it. I'll catch you on the next one.